Welcome to episode 13 of the Current Backloggers. The date is May 7th. I'm your host, KCP, along with my good friend and co host, Cody G. Cody, how's it going?
Oh, it's going, but I think it's technically the 8th.
Yeah, I always do on the day that the Thursday, since that's when we try and schedule it. So, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
No, almost every time I said the date, it's actually been the opposite because we do it after midnight most times now.
Makes sense.
I just thought I would start off with a really energetic one after the news I shared with you. Get you a little up there. What have you been up to, guy?
um, just did some yard work today.
What
Oh,
kind of
it's
yard
something
work?
special. There's like random pieces of metal throughout my yard, like old fence posts and like these pieces of metal that's drilled way deep into the ground. And my mower hit one, and it broke the mower, so kind of got all Groundhog Day or not Groundhog Day, tackleberry with it, and dug up my whole yard and looking for these metal pieces and got a bunch of them out. But now it looks like there's like landmines went off all through my yard. Lawnmower still won't start, so I'm pretty sure that's just ruined. Um, so I've been digging those out. Do you remember last week I had bought Edith Finch on eBay? Do you remember that?
Uh-oh, is this bad news?
Yeah, the
Uh,
it sold incredibly cheap,
uh-huh.
and I think the guy was expecting more money from it, and he never sent it out.
Yikes.
So it was supposed to arrive anywhere from 3 days ago to yesterday, and I never got a tracking number, and he won't return me my messages. But eBay's, and he also has a brand new account, so
Uh-huh.
I feel like he feels like he doesn't have to send it. So eBay is really good with when you're buying stuff off there to once they realize, okay, you never sent it, they're really good about getting your money back, and
Oh, really?
they don't give a shit. They'll just charge him and get everything figured out for you. So, in that aspect, that's why it's okay.
Yeah, that's good. It
Um,
still sucks overall, though, because I know you'd rather still be able to be out that money and still have it.
exactly, exactly, because I got it for so cheap too. I was
Yeah.
looking at sold listings, and it's going for way more than what I paid, which is one other reason why I think he didn't send it was some people in some groups too on Facebook. It never happened to me. This is the first time it's happened to me. But if they win auctions on eBay, people just say like, "Oh, I'm not sending it," and then put it back up in the hopes to get more money out of it
hmm
because just had a weird auction where not a lot of people saw it, so people get good deals and they just don't want to send shit out because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's been it, man. Just work and cleaning metal out of my yard, and then my steps on my deck. My girlfriend was walking up them, and the second step gave out on her, and she twisted her ankle, and it broke. And then I realized, holy cow, these steps are really bad. So there's a guy coming out on the 12th to probably like to give us an estimate on redoing our deck. So I don't know how much money that's going to be. We'll see.
The way you said that made it sound like you casually said her ankle was broken, but I'm pretty sure you're talking about the board.
Oh yeah, or no, her ankle was twisted. It only bothered her for a couple
Yeah.
of days. But
Um,
the board that was almost ready to give out in a similar fashion was the top one. So that would have been a crazy fall from the top one. Matter of fact, the top one when I grabbed it and like kind of twisted it, it just came off.
really?
Yeah. So and then I noticed some of the metal support. There's these like little U-shaped metal things that go in there. They are completely rusted away, and one of the center boards looks kind of bad. So my dad and all these handymen in my life are like, "Oh, you can fix it yourself," and I'm like, just, guys, I'm not wasting this. And you try to watch YouTube, try to understand it. Those videos are so ridiculous. They're the worst, dude. Like this old home or whatever that's called. That's That's like almost nostalgic. That's fun to watch, but all the other ones are the worst. If you want to watch some home repair videos on YouTube, you guys ever want some cringe, some Bob Vila. They're all Bob Vila knockoffs where it's just like some terrible music playing in the background with the pan of the house. And hi, welcome back. This is John. Today what we're working on is support beams in the basement. And it's just constant music, and I'm not doing this. And then you go to Home Depot, and those guys are all used to be contractors, so then they talk down to you. You're like, oh, I need the U-bolt or something like that. Oh, you mean the U screw, idiot? And they're like, I guess, yeah, sure, whatever that is. And then the shit never fits right, and I'm returning stuff all the time to Home Depot. So I'd much rather pay this professional come out and look at the deck and be like, yeah, this is unsafe, and know exactly what to fix instead of me guessing and
Yeah.
buying shit at Home Depot and listening to Bob Vila knockoffs on YouTube and for some reason they all blast music in the background too, like terrible free music that just, I don't know. I'm not a handyman. I have no interest in that. I get so aggravated and pissed off. So I'd much rather have a professional come out and do it and get it done in a day than me fucking around with it.
I gotcha. You mentioned Edith Finch. I know we talked after the podcast last week that I guess this is a minor spoiler. You can jump ahead like 2 minutes if you haven't played Edith Finch, but we talked about how we felt like we were not too negative on it because I feel like we praised it like crazy, but I feel like we both were too down as far as it being a sad game, which it definitely is. But I think you maybe even mentioned it briefly, but I feel like we didn't talk about it nearly as much as we did about it being sad. That I feel like its bigger message is that it is sad, but to enjoy life and you don't know how long you have, and a more
Yeah,
positive message, even
yeah.
though the story is sad.
What's that? It kind of cut out for me.
I'm not sure where it cut out. I just said that even though the story is sad, I feel like it's the higher message is like sad stuff does happen, but that's why you should enjoy life because you don't know how long you have.
No, 100%, man. And not to go back to this, but the whole last story you told me before we started this, my mind it almost reminded me of Edith Finch.
Yeah, I can see that. It's funny you said that actually. Danielle started playing Edith Finch, and
Oh
she doesn't
no.
play many games. And well, she started playing it last night, and she actually really likes it. And she was like, "I can't wait to get home from work today and play that and get my mind off things." And I was like, "Oh, well, it's up to you if you want to or not. That's kind of very similar to this." And she was, "No, I still want to." And she still did play tonight and liked it again. And she actually mentioned something that I didn't think about with Edith Finch. She said how it'd be a really fun game in VR, and I, for some reason,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
thought about that. I feel like that would translate perfectly and like immerse you even more into the story. And I was thinking something particular what you said about like looking down. I felt like that would have been a really cool way to see that. Um, and I couldn't remember all the stories. I was trying to think if any story wouldn't fit VR, but I feel like most, if not all, would. Because I was thinking the last story that we were talking about, trying to talk about stuff without completely spoiling it this time. But the one with the fish market, I was like, that might not work in VR. But then I was like, even that, I guess, would, because you'd see the perspective of being like the worker. So I think that would work. I don't know if there's any stories that really wouldn't work in VR.
No, I hate to be like, oh, I thought that as well, but when it really clicked for me, the VR thing was the looking down and
Oh,
being in
really?
that environment. But the fish scene was when it was really like felt like VR.
Oh, yeah.
That's definitely a good point, and I think it'd be easy to turn that into a VR game if they wanted to remaster it or bring it to VR.
I'd be all about that. I'd buy that in a second. And it's too bad that PlayStation didn't keep them exclusive. They could be like, hey, make us a VR game. We don't have enough VR games.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Um, oh, I don't know if you saw Trevor's comment. He finally gave us an answer about why he said he was the Dolphins. Did you see that comment?
I did not. No.
I guess when I was talking about it, I said how I was the Broncos and Aaron was the Lions, and I didn't say who he was, so he was just saying who he was since I talked about him, but didn't say who his team was. So he's the Dolphins, in case you're wondering.
Dolphins, fin up, buddy.
That's right. Um, we talked last week about Andy Dalton. Did you see he signed with the Cowboys?
I did.
I feel like that's odd because I don't like Dak Prescott, but I feel like he's definitely talented, and I don't know if Andy Dalton's really going to play at all. So I feel like it's weird that he signed to be a backup. Well, I'm assuming a backup. I can't believe he couldn't get a starting job somewhere. And then it's even more weird because he signed for a $7 million deal. So I don't know why the Bengals didn't keep him even if they're going to have him as a backup for that price. And it's $7 million, but $3 million of it is guaranteed. The other $4 million depends on he has to actually end up being a starter and play in some postseason games.
Oh wow.
Otherwise, it's $3 million. Because I was talking to Aaron, the one that our friend that is in the Madden season with us, our franchise with us, and he said, he's like, well, it's not a $30 million deal, or the Bengals would have kept him. It was because it was a $7 million deal. But I looked it up, like I said, and it technically is, but more than likely it's going to be a $3 million deal. So I don't know why the hell the Bengals didn't keep him around.
Yeah. Um, I think he'd have been a great backup, and I think that's what he's going to do with the Cowboys, of course.
Yeah. And I feel like he's somebody perfect to help somebody like Joe Burrow that is young and he could teach things that young people don't know about.
100%, man. And feel like it's almost like these teams want franchise quarterbacks right out of college.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you need at least a year or two to. I think Baker could have, but the Browns had no option.
Yeah.
But the
Um,
Bengals had an option. I feel like
unre-
Tyrod would have been a great one for Baker, but
yeah.
the Browns fans are.
Unrelated to football, I don't appreciate what you just post in the chat for me, especially because I'm too far away from the computer. So, like, oh, it might be something about the show. I better look at it. So I got on my phone and got on the app. They probably tell me something's wrong with the video or something, and I got there, I saw that, and I was like, oh, great.
I just wanted to drop that in there for you, buddy,
No, I appreciate that.
to lighten the mood. Just feeling a little sassy.
I hate you so much. A couple random things before we get into the normal show. Did you see who's gonna play Joe Exotic in um, the series of, well, the scripted series of the Tiger King? I almost said the Lion King.
I feel like they did that on purpose with Lion
Yeah, oh,
King,
I'm
Tiger
sure.
King. Nick Cage.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's gonna destroy that because he's. It's cool to hate on him, and even though I don't hate him, he's definitely made some fucking terrible choices in his career and has some horrendous movies. But I feel like the movies, if you see the right ones, he can be a really good actor, and I
Oh
feel like
yeah.
he actually fits Joe Exotic's look, especially if they do him all up like that. And he's obviously crazy enough that I feel like he'd actually almost be a perfect fit for it.
Yeah, he has no in betweens. There's no movies where like, man, that was okay.
Yeah,
It's either wow, that's fucking garbage, or so bad it's good, or amazing movies for me, anyways.
no, that's exactly how it is for me.
My only issue is Tiger King's got a very specific voice,
Oh yeah, that's true.
and I don't see Nicolas Cage having. He's just gonna. He seems to have that voice, no matter what he's doing. Nicolas Cage has the same voice,
Yeah,
so I don't see him getting real sassy like this.
yeah, that's true. I was thinking more personality and looks, and I feel like he definitely has those down because he's obviously a little crazy and has the looks down. But yeah, the voice I'm not sure about. Um, I also don't know how I feel about it in general that they're doing a scripted series of it, and it's not the. I don't know if you saw. It's not a retelling exactly of the Tiger King. It's based off a book about Joe Exotic, so I'm guessing a lot of. I was gonna say the characters, but a lot of the, I guess for a better word, um, characters on the Tiger King won't be in it. It's going to be like a different story about him, which could be interesting. But I feel like everyone's just going to expect the Tiger King and be like, "Oh, this isn't it. They've screwed it up," even though it's something different and based off of something completely different than that.
Yeah.
And it's on. I don't know if you saw. It's going to be on CBS. So I feel like this is a good test at what I'm always talking about. I feel like if something's on Netflix, people just are so open to it. And if it was on basic cable, how they give it no chance. And I feel like this show is gonna be on CBS unless they move it to Netflix or something. It has no chance.
Yeah, you can't be, you know, rated R or mature. What do they say? TV mature.
Yeah,
Like I feel like they're gonna cut a lot of stuff out, and I don't know much about TV execs, but listening to celebrities on podcasts, they talk about how television is producers and all that jazz, and those guys are always deep in your projects and want to change shit and make shit and do different shit.
yeah.
Whereas Netflix is pretty hands off.
I think if it was me, I think I would prefer something more like what do you call it? I was gonna say The Room. What is the parody of The Room?
Disaster artist?
Yeah, Disaster Artist. I feel like it doesn't have to be identical to that. Not like that would be funny if they did identical, but I'm not even saying like mockumentary or whatever you want to call it, like a parody of their documentary. I feel like just over the top comedy and like turn because I feel like this show is supposed to be dead serious and there's a lot of obvious very serious stuff that happens in it. But I feel like it's so over the top that you could take it in a different direction, just make it a ridiculous comedy. And I'm not sure who you start Joe Exotic as then, but I feel like there'd be plenty of good candidates to make a ridiculous movie out of.
Yeah. You would need a very, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who I would choose for that. Because you need an actor that's going to take it very serious. I don't think Nicolas Cage is going to. I think he will, but it's just gonna. I think it's gonna be cringy, man. I think it's gonna be bad.
Then maybe it's exactly what we talked about with him. Either way, it's gonna be worth watching because it'll be he nailed it or he fucking didn't at all, and it's just as enjoyable in a different way.
Um, God, I always forget his name, but Eastbound and Down.
Oh, Danny McBride.
I feel like he should be involved somewhere in there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like maybe the old creepy guy that told his very young wife to get back in the gym while she's pregnant. I wish that guy would have accidentally committed suicide. That fucking guy is a piece of shit. That's the crazy part about that documentary. There is not a single nice person in there. There's two I can think of: the libertarian Walmart manager and the guy that got his arm ripped off.
Yeah, I was gonna say those two, and then two others. I feel like kind of went back and forth. Were I can't remember his name. The dude with the long blonde hair,
Yeah, I could see that.
and then Jesus, I should have looked people's names up. The dude that was like the well, actually I know something I could give for it. The dude with prosthetic legs. I feel like he seemed like a pretty genuine guy most of the time.
See what I can pull up the cast here. So John Rinke, that's the
Yeah,
guy with the prosthetics legs. It has Kelsey Saffer, which is the transgender that seems you said can go either way, doesn't really care.
yeah,
And Eric Cowie, that's the long-haired,
yeah,
blonde-haired guy. And then Joshua Dial, and
yeah.
then there is like probably another 20 people listed here in this cast. And I seriously, they were all evil.
Did you? Well, you said you didn't watch the final Tiger King episode.
Yeah, I
Somebody
couldn't sit through
said
that, man.
somebody's asking to do with prosthetic legs, who he would want cast as him in the movie. Because that was when before his stuff that Nicolas Cage came out, and the rumors were it was just gonna be like a exact adaptation of the Tiger King, which, like I said, this is obviously something different, a different story. But somebody said that he asked who he wanted to be casted as, and he said Matthew McConaughey. And if you start looking at him and how he talks, I was like, I hate Matthew McConaughey, but that's almost a perfect fit. And then
Whoa.
yeah, and then Joel McHale's like, really? Because the internet seems to think that should be Joe Exotic. I was like, what? Who would? That's like a perfect casting. Why the fuck would you have Joe Exotic as Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, no, I don't see it at all, man.
How's a guy that is talking about himself cast himself better? Because usually when you do that kind of stuff, people say nuts answers. Like if somebody asked me, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I don't. I think this should be a scripted television show, not a movie, because you could. There's just so much content that you have to cover in 2 hours. I'm thinking. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to think who I would cast, and you almost need a no-name person.
Yeah. Maybe that's
You'd almost need like a just a nobody, not a nobody, but someone that no one's really ever heard of. And I would almost go a little flamboyant.
yeah.
Because just Nicolas Cage's voice is too deep, and that
Yeah.
was one of my favorite parts of Joe Exotic was how fucking feminine his voice was. I think the hardest I laughed in that show was, and I remember seeing the clip, which is so funny to think, man. Remember watching and sharing his clips, like, I don't know, 2013, of his dachshunds playing with the lion, the handicap lion, and being like, Jesus Christ, yeah, these guys are a little, they went a little viral. But then I remember, like, a few years ago seeing the clip where the fucking lions knocked him down, and he's like, I'm going to shoot you in the face. Do you know that? You remember that clip in the
Yeah.
documentary?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah, I can hear. And now I
Yeah.
can. I didn't hear you before.
Yeah, I said, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, okay, yeah. That dude, I laughed way too hard at that. And just how specific his voice is. I just don't see Nicolas Cage doing that.
Yeah, that's
I'm sitting here racking my brain who I would choose, man. And I don't know. You know who would play a great libertarian though? The libertarian guy
who's that?
is I kind of go back to Eastbound and Down.
Oh,
But I
you
feel like
talking
that's a
about?
similar style show that you'd want to if you want to do Tiger King. Very similar. I would have to go with who do you think in that show would be a great libertarian?
Doesn't he have like a really nerdy sidekick with blonde hair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Steve Little.
Yeah.
That's where I had to look that up. His name, but that's exactly where I would go. Um, dude, I don't know who would play. I think you almost have to get someone that's just a flamboyant middle-aged guy. I don't think you could cast a famous person in it. Dude, it's so funny. I'm sitting here looking at the cast, Eastbound and Down, and just how legendary that cast was. But these guys would fit really well. And fucking Matthew McConaughey's in here, Jason Sudeikis. Dude, you could. Yeah. If they put some real money behind this and get some really big names, I think this should have been an HBO thing, not a CBS.
Yeah.
The funding with HBO, the fact that it could be rated M, and they could do whatever they wanted, just like Eastbound and Down. I would go that route. And with Eastbound and Down too was based on a real guy as well.
Yeah. I remember hearing that. Or I think they said it
Yeah,
in the show.
Vice did a documentary on him. But yeah, man. God damn it. You could almost do Danny McBride as Joe Exotic, but that still doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
I
What
don't know.
about?
Maybe I'll think about it next week. I'll come back with where I would go with it.
Okay, maybe we can talk after the podcast, and maybe we could do like pick the top 5 characters and cast them and see compare to each other. You there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah,
Okay.
no, my mind's still going crazy right now
Oh no, you're
with
good.
who
I just
I
want to make sure it
choose.
didn't freeze. Um, we talked last week about the whole Universal AMC drama.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that Regal jumped on board? You said that last week how you heard that they might do it, and it seemed like they were gonna. It was just a matter of time, but they jumped on board and joined AMC's side and said they're not gonna show any Universal movies when they reopen.
Good for them, man.
Yeah. Still haven't had anything from Cinemark, but that's unsurprising. They don't take very many strong stances on things.
Wow. The only thing I did see from Cinemark is I don't know how widespread this is. I've seen a couple of their locations have closed down.
Oh, you mean like in
Good.
general, not like related to the Universal thing, just that they closed down.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else random before we get into the normal show, guy?
Um. No, I think that's it for me.
All right. You got any corrections, questions, or feedback?
Oh yeah, I meant to. I think this was a couple episodes ago, but
Okay.
as far as I can tell, Humble Bundle is owned by IGN still. I don't know if I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Let me look it up one last time before I get too crazy because it's been about a week and a half since I looked it up. Let's see if they still own them. And it was October 13th, 2017. Humble Bundle announced it had been acquired by IGN Entertainment, a subsidiary of Ziff Davis. Continued the same sales and charity promotions, faster and better with IGN's resources backing it. How many people do you think works at Humble Bundle?
Oh God. So I just go either way. It could be a ton or nobody. I'll say 100.
60
Oh, 60.
as of 2017. It might have gone up, but yeah.
I almost
Uh,
guessed 50, but that seemed too low.
it's might have gone up because I heard Epic Game Store has kind of teamed up with them.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's gone up a little bit, but yeah, and I'm sure at some point too, that's got to be a nice tax write-off for IGN.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think that's what Humble Bundle does a lot of help, but I think it's got to be a nice tax write-off for a lot of these companies.
Yeah, I'm sure. Was there
But yeah,
anything
that's
else
the
you
only thing I
had,
can
guy?
think of.
That's it. Okay. Um, I had one. I didn't realize every time I said it, I was saying the wrong name when I was telling you you should watch a movie about um, Parkersburg. That I was saying the wrong title every single time. I said Deep Water or Deep Waters, and it's Dark Waters, and I said it wrong every time. I don't know how, because I said I love that movie, and I remember even when I saw it, I was trying to get you to watch it and tell everybody about it, and then somehow I completely said the wrong name of it over and over last podcast.
Yeah, man, I still need to finish or not finish. I need to find it. I'd like to get it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, but you can get on Blu-ray relatively cheap, especially Amazon or something. I feel like that'd be one of those movies that drops like $5 randomly. It barely, like I said, didn't do that good in the theaters either. It was rated well, but as far as box office, it didn't do that well.
Because I don't remember hearing anything about it, man. Besides you.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. I know, like I said, it didn't do well box office wise, but Mark Ruffalo's in it, and that was right when the Avengers was out, and I felt like that would get more attention. But it was actually a limited release, and then when it went wider, it didn't last long at all.
It's the Teflon or whatever that corporate 3M
Yeah, yeah. Um,
burying it.
but that was all I noticed. So as normal. If you have any corrections, questions, or feedback, you can send it to currentbackloggers@gmail.com. And then you got any news this week, homie, for games?
Um, no, besides the Xbox stuff, but I figured you had that written in there.
Yeah, I
Sure.
got it. Yeah, that's I meant to mention it last week, but Xbox was doing a special Inside Xbox this week, which is kind of like their Nintendo Directs where they make announcements and um, show off new stuff. And they presented this one, I feel like, a little too highly for what it was, but I feel like they did also try and manage people's expectations by saying it was only third party, and I feel like they tried to knock it down before people got too excited, but I feel like they started out with on the wrong foot about hyping it up too much. Um, I don't know how you want to do it, guy. I actually went game by game and saved everything and then took some notes randomly for stuff I noticed. So if you want, we can go through each game or we can just kind of give overall views.
How did you feel about the announcer, or like the guy at the beginning, and he had a little part at the end?
Um, like the very beginning, we are talking about Aaron Greenberg with the Xbox fridge behind him.
No, right before it started. I don't know. I kind of had a iffy copy of it. Let me look him up real quick to make sure that's who it is. No, it wasn't. I don't know his name. I watched IGN's clip of it. It's kind of weird too because IGN had the shortest video listing on YouTube. It's like 30 minutes. Some of them are like over an hour. How long was it for you?
It was probably about a half hour. Yeah, I bet a lot of them probably went live to try and get it as it was happening and then didn't edit their videos.
That's what I thought. But then
Oh,
there was some little clips spread in there.
yeah, I cut off after like 40 minutes. It did go past that because they did interviews after it was over to go deeper into some of the games. So that was probably it. They probably kept that on. IGN probably just knocked it off because there wasn't. That's why I stopped watching. Didn't seem like much was there.
Gotcha. Let me get to this guy here and get a name on him. Because it's kind of weird. Because once again, our podcast is like production wise is like right on par with these big corporations, man. Um, it's kind of weird too. The guy I'm talking about had the exact headset I'm using right now too.
Oh, really?
Damon Baker, head of global portfolio, Xbox.
I think I
It
know who
was
you're
right
talking
before
about.
the show started. Because he had a voice, my guy.
A good
He
voice?
he had a. You know how you talk about some gaming podcast? You're like, wow, that's a nerd voice.
Uh huh.
He had one of those with a little lisp in there.
Oh, yeah, this is the other guy I was thinking about. I just didn't know his name. Yeah. Yeah, he was something. His video quality was actually better than some of them. I don't know if you saw it at the beginning with Aaron Greenberg and when they had like four people. It looked like it was some of the worst quality I've ever seen, which is hilarious coming from these huge executives at one of the biggest tech companies in the world. And they own Skype and own Mixer and all these video services. And his was so pixelated you could barely see him. And then you might remember him because he made a terrible joke about his Xbox fridge behind him. Because I don't know if you remember, Xbox tweeted out this ridiculous picture to show the size of the Xbox Series X, and behind it they put an Xbox fridge behind it for some reason, and
Man.
they put a terrible animated Xbox fridge behind Aaron Greenberg, and he's like, "Hey guys, how's it going? As you can see, I have my Xbox fridge behind me." And I was like, "Oh my, what are you doing?"
No, I don't remember this, dude.
Oh, really? I was like,
I missed out on this. Yeah,
you're just
this
starting
was
on
not in
cringe
the
right away.
my version.
That was literally the beginning of it. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
I need to go hunt that down now, though.
um, but I have a bunch of small thoughts and stuff like that. But if you want, I can just start on the games and list them. I know usually we just talk about things we care about, but I thought might be maybe do something a little different this time. Just go through each game.
Yeah, sounds good.
So the first one was Bright Memory Infinite. That's the first-person shooter that had like way too good of graphics. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I was getting a little like I felt like I was back in 2011 again with Electronic Arts with all the lens flares. Those first three games was just all lens flares.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It looked super impressive and the graphics were nuts, but that seemed like a prime candidate for an E3 game where you're like, holy shit, and then it comes out and it's nothing like that, and you're like, wait, where was this game at?
Yeah,
Well, we had to make some modifications, but this isn't even the same game.
yeah.
The crazy thing about that, though, even if it doesn't end up looking like that, did you hear that they said that was made by one single person in China?
I was actually about to say it. The little. It's usually pretty easy to figure out where funding comes from a game, especially if it's from China, because their studios are always like Fengfuao Studios and shit like that, and you're like, okay, that's China. So that's one of my points. I was like, man, I wonder how much funding came from China. But so it's just one guy in China.
Yeah, that's what they said. Which so even if it doesn't live up to that, that's fucking nuts that one person even made a demo reel of something like that, let alone a full game that's potentially like that.
Yeah, I kind of got this, especially because it's like a almost fantasy shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to even I don't know how to describe it. But do you remember the game Devil's Third?
I remember hearing about it. I don't even remember what it is though.
Yeah, I don't know why my mind went to that. Which, by the way, if you ever find it on the Wii U, pick it up. It's kind of a rare game for the Wii U. Um, but I kind of I went there. Kind of reminded me of a budget title. I'd check it out.
Yeah. Um, then the next one did absolutely nothing for me, but I feel like it's actually probably one of the bigger games, Dirt 5. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
even I feel like I don't care about that series at all, but I feel like part of the reason you show a racing game is because that is the easiest thing to show off crazy graphics. And I didn't feel like it looked any more impressive than any other Dirt game I've seen. I was like, yeah, oh, it's another Dirt.
There was the majority of that clip that I thought it was Forza, and I was like, oh, they're going like off roads. I was like, wait, that's first party though.
Yeah.
And then they said dirt, and I was like, oh, okay. So at some point I missed initially if they said initially if it was dirt.
Oh.
So most of that clip I was like, oh, Forza
Uh,
on mud.
yeah, I don't think they did. I think it was right at the end when they threw up the symbol.
Yeah, because for majority I thought like, oh, Forza.
Yeah. Um, then the next one was Scorn, and that was that crazy looking alien game. A lot of these games I feel like did not present themselves to really know what they are. Is part of the issue I have talking about them. But that was that crazy alien looking one that just kept having one alien walk around and like a crazy mouth opened, and then that
Mm-hmm.
mouth opened to something else, and then it started leaking something that looked like semen for some reason. And I was like, I don't know what's
Yeah,
happening. It looks like interesting, but I
yeah.
don't know what the fuck this
I'm very
is.
excited for that. Scorn,
Yeah.
kind of. This said aliens, where your mind kind of went the H.R. Geiger, I think that's how you say his name,
Mhm.
style of doing things, or like a Tool album. So it looked cool, but then there was no like I didn't quite understand it. They said it's a horror game. I looked it up afterwards.
Okay.
Because there's nothing there. It's just like a.
Yeah.
I thought it was aliens at first,
Yeah, that's I can see
or
that.
straight from. And then I think H.R. Geiger either created aliens or aliens was based off of his stuff. So I thought that was actually what was happening, but uh, atmospheric first person horror adventure game. So I would give that a
Okay.
go. That was actually out of all the games, that was my number two.
Really? Okay. Was
Yeah.
your number one not happen yet?
No, number one has not happened yet.
Because I think for me, well, actually, my number one hasn't happened, but Bright Memory is actually my number two. But like I said, I feel like it's not going to live up to that. Um,
Yeah.
but just judging based off of what I've seen, do you see Scorn said it was going to be straight to Game Pass, so we won't have to buy it?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Um, then the next one was Chorus. I don't know if you remember that one.
No, what's that about?
That one was, let me make sure I have it right here. Uh-oh, I lost it. If you can find it, let me know. I had it up here. I don't know where I put it.
Let's see. What was the title again? I can't get anything to come up with it.
Chorus. You have to search Chorus Xbox because Chorus is such a common. I don't know why the hell they named it that. Um, but this was another one that I feel like they didn't show a lot of. This was
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember this now.
yeah, I felt like most of these potential would be cool, but they didn't show you what the fuck they were gonna be. There's like, here's this thing.
Yeah, I kind of like the way it sounded though. It sounded really epic, and then um, they really didn't say much. It looked kind of like a. This one I'd probably put at number three for me, just because I kind of like, whoa, a flight simulator in space or something. You don't see those often, or is it shmup or shoot 'em up or like what's happening there?
Yeah.
But the ship's mechanics, like the when she did the boost thing, I
hmm
don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
There was like a
I looked up.
a boost moment where she kind of jetted around and it just looked sick.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just not my style of game because I saw it and I was just kind of, huh, and then kind of just went out of my mind.
Did you like
Um,
the narration?
yeah, that was pretty cool.
So it's kind of epic.
Yeah.
It's really nerdy though.
Uh huh. Then the next one was Madden 21, which I don't feel like there's much you need to say about Madden, but I guess I could say fuck Patrick Mahomes. And
What, you have issues with him?
yeah, he's in the same division as the Broncos, and they won the Super Bowl, so I fucking hate him. And
Oh,
aside from that, that whole fucking segment was so cringy, I could barely do it. That was probably the worst. And I'm just really glad to be able to be here with you guys today, and I can't wait to get back on the football field. No, what the fuck? Is Are you reading off a teleprompter? What is this? Um, then they did say, I guess, one thing to add with that it'd be the whatever they're calling it, the cross buy. So if you buy on Xbox One, you get it for the Xbox Series X. So I feel like that's a really cool thing. But I already talked about how I feel like most games are going to be like that. So I don't think that's anything stand out. I think they're probably just trying to advertise it to get people to buy it.
most definitely. And I think too is just to get people over on Xbox, or Series X.
Yeah,
How do you even say that? How would
yeah,
we refer to it?
the new one.
Yeah, like how
Yeah, it'd be Xbox Series
Xbox
X.
Series X.
That's what keeps fucking with me though, because I go to say Xbox One X, and I'm like, oh shit, because there
Yeah.
is the Xbox One X. So, but I feel like I said, I feel like it's called Xbox One Series X because there's gonna be different series. Like the X is like the elite model, and then like the theoretically the Y would be like the discless one, and models like that or something. I feel like it's weird if they have a called series and then there's only one series of it.
Most definitely.
Then next one was one of the weirder trailers. I feel like you would probably like it. I had mixed reactions to it. The Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which is quite the title there. Which I didn't know this was a sequel because I thought I was seeing something new. It was a trailer that started out as a Christmas tree and all the people with the dead bodies, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And then this these trailers are supposed to be showing off this crazy new tech. I feel like kind of were hit and miss. I don't know if you remember his animations during that and how he's like dead eyed. Well, this looks pretty fucking terrible, even though the vibe is kind of cool. And then it turned into like a first person game, I was like, I don't even really know what's fucking happening in this game. And then when I saw the sequel, I was like, I don't know if I'm just out of the loop or what's going on anymore.
Yeah, I think probably why we wouldn't know it. The first one came out in 2004,
Oh,
the initial release,
okay.
and it kind of has like a Harley Quinn looking chick and very odd premise. So, um, I never heard of this game or why this game would have such a, why they'd want to make a sequel for it, unless there's something I'm missing. If they're, um, um, if there's like a huge fan support, or like what's the thing here?
Huh. It's funny you said it's from 2004 because I feel like it'd be an exaggeration to say it's that bad, but I feel like definitely last gen, not even this gen, is how his eyes and his character movement looked, which was fucking weird when you're showing off games with these crazy tech and they have something like that. I was like, this seems very misplaced. And then
Okay,
the
yeah,
gameplay
I can
looked,
see that.
yeah, and then the gameplay didn't look anything like that and looked more impressive. I don't know what they're doing here.
Do you want to hear something crazy?
Let's hear it.
Um, so let me see here. So use Valve Source Game Engine, and then it was released in competition with Half-Life 2 and several other titles. Bloodlines sold fewer than 80,000 copies during its initial release.
Huh.
So not only is this, I'm telling you, I bet you can hop on eBay, these fucking physical copies, I'm sure might
Yeah.
shoot up. Um, so 80,000 initial release, and it's seen as a complete or considered poor performance. Um, but it says it has a cult following.
Hmm.
So I think they need to get a remaster out of that first one. Maybe a pack in or released a little bit early. So who the hell has that? It might
What?
be available on Steam. Looks like it was only released once for Microsoft Windows. Use source. So I imagine it's got to be on Steam. Huh. Yeah, it's an Activision game. Is Activision doing this one as well?
I don't remember seeing their logo at all.
Yeah, this is weird. I want to look more into this. This is when it'd been nice to have a little introduction for the
Yeah.
game. Someone talking about it. Talk about the first one because I was the same way. I was like, "What the fuck? I've never even heard of this game. What do you mean number two?"
Yeah, no, it's Hard Suit Labs is the developer and the publisher is Paradox Interactive.
Huh.
Um,
I haven't heard of either one of those.
well, Paradox Interactive sounds familiar, but yeah, I definitely haven't heard of the developer. But even Paradox, I'm not sure if that's just because it's a generic name or I know it from something.
Okay, I just looked at Paradox. They've done a lot of big PC games. City Skylines,
Okay.
Europa, Surviving Mars, Prison Architect. So it's almost like I don't hate to say B titles, but um, these are um, well-regarded B titles. I guess the way to look at it.
Yeah.
Budget titles.
Hmm. Um,
Ugh.
I wonder, after hearing all that, I wonder if this is one of those games that never comes out. I feel like this happens all the time, especially with new generations like Phantom Dust and all these games that have cult followings or bringing back things to get people's attention, and then it just kind of fades out. Or next 5 years, feel like, hey, where's that game at? And, oh, it's coming, and it just never happens.
Yeah, I could see that.
Um, then the next one was Call of the Sea, which was definitely one of the better looking games as far as visual. It was one of those like the colors really popped out and it kind of looked like a, I don't know, without seeing much of it, but it made it presented like a walking simulator, but it was like a really like bright looking game, like island kind of feel.
Yeah, I don't. For a split second, it felt very Bioshocky at the
Oh yeah,
beginning.
Yeah, I could see that.
And they had that random clip of I'm guessing you have underwater segments of, I don't know if the lady turns into the monster or what happens.
Yeah. Um,
Sea of Thieves almost.
yeah. Now I have this one here, and I actually can't remember exactly what this one was, but a lot of it blended together for me. The
What was it
Ascent.
called?
It's called The Ascent.
The Ascent. I just watched this too. These such cliche names, kind of stuff bled together. That was another thing. Oh yeah, yeah. I remember this now.
What was this one like?
I think um Ascend, right?
Yeah, it's it.
Yeah, I think this there was an initial one that came out in 360. They're the ones with the weird looking trolls and like the big armor.
Okay.
Um Let me make sure though, because all I'm seeing.
And
How's it
this,
spelled?
I was gonna say, this does say The Ascent. It's the and then Ascent.
Okay. Ascend was a 360 game, I remember. Um, yeah, it looks very similar though, with like the goblins. But futuristic. It's like your bird's eye view. Do you remember that? Almost
Oh
look like
yeah,
a
kind of
stick
like that.
shooter,
Yeah.
twin stick shooter, whatever they call those.
Hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that was another one that. That's why I forgot. It didn't look bad. It just didn't really stand out. Just kind of like another game that could come out right now. Not really think much about.
Yeah, I don't. It looks like it'd been a really cool game to put me play on the Vita.
Oh yeah. Um, then the next one was The Medium, which again looked interesting, but again didn't get much to work with. It was kind of like a psychological horror game, kind of looked like.
Yeah, I
And
didn't quite follow it. The only thing that stood out to me, that was the one where it had the composer from Silent Hill.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say next.
What's that?
That's what I was gonna say next. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Oh no, you're good. I
Oh,
just, um, yeah, that stood out for me. That part of it, but yeah, again, it seemed like could be interesting, but didn't really do anything overall. Um, then Scarlet Nexus was the next game they showed, which that one. See, this is so terrible. I have to look these up even after taking notes. That's how fucking forgettable some of this was and how it just blended together.
it was the anime one, right?
Oh shit, is that what it was? Is that the Bandai Namco game?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that gave me flashbacks to a Nintendo Direct. I was like, oh shit, they're going in on this. That's it actually don't look terrible if you like that kind of game, but that's not my style. And it's the people who made the Tales games where people go fucking crazy for those. So
Yeah.
probably
I think there was a Tales game that was really successful on the 360.
yeah,
One
and
of the very
that's
early ones.
it seems like Nintendo kind of dominates that. So it probably is smart to have Xbox get something like that. Even though I'm just can't stand any of these conferences.
Wasn't there, didn't Phil Spencer at some point too said he went to Japan to have meetings?
Yeah,
I feel like this was definitely one of them.
yeah, I could see that.
The flowers though, the flower enemies kind of threw me off. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
The bouquets.
Uh huh. Then the next game, and actually the one I'm most excited for, was the Second Extinction, which was the dinosaur game where it was one of the prettier looking games, and it's a third person. Some of this I looked up. That's the other thing. I'm kind of we figure this stuff out on our own instead of them showing you. But it was a three-player co-op game where it kind of like Torok, where you're just killing all these dinosaurs, and there'd be a lot of cool mechanics. And I don't feel like there's enough games like that where you can meet up and just have nonsense fun together.
Um, I was watching this with my girlfriend. My girlfriend was watching TV, and I was watching it beside her. And I was like, "Whoa, is this a new Turok game?"
Oh, really?
And that was also my number one.
Oh, really? After I was
Yep.
looking, I was like, oh, your number one's gonna be. I'm jumping ahead, but Assassin's Creed. I was like, that's probably gonna be your number one. So I'm glad we're in line there, and it's a co-op game, so it's perfect. We can have our number ones be games we can play together.
Yes, sir.
Um, then the next one was Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I can't believe that's the fucking title. Um, and that was another one that did absolutely nothing for me and seemed more like a Nintendo announcement. But I know that game's actually not very childlike and very popular, or that series.
Yeah. One of my really good friends I grew up with is a big fan of that series. And something I know is different. There's like a weird fighting mechanic in it,
Yeah,
where I'm guessing that's the dragon aspect of it. So I don't know if this one's super focused on fighting, which that might change it up for me. It's not like going into stores and buying stuff and
uh huh.
discos and dancing, and so I might be. I've always wanted to try the Yakuza games just because it seems very simmy. I've also wanted to try out Shenmue, which kind of Shenmue was the precursor to these.
Yeah,
Or yeah, Shenmue would have been the founder of the genre, I guess maybe.
probably. It
I
was
don't know
definitely
how
one of
you
the.
would describe that, but
Yeah,
um, the fighting aspect of Shenmue and Yakuza always look fun to me, and this game looks like it's almost all fighting.
yeah, yeah. It definitely looked
Which,
more interesting than the
oh, sorry, go
other.
ahead.
Definitely looked more interesting than the other Yakuza games, and I've never really been that into it. But I still don't know if I'll ever play this one. But it did look more interesting for sure.
Did you ever play the True Grime games?
Yeah. I don't even know if I finished them, but I had fun with them.
And then they were supposed to do True Crimes Hong Kong, which eventually turned into Sleeping Dogs.
Yeah.
Is it Sleeping Dog or Sleeping Dogs? I can't remember.
I think there's an S on it. I'm pretty sure.
But I enjoyed the fighting a lot in that game,
Okay.
in those games. So I don't know. I imagine it's probably gonna be an Xbox Game Pass. Did they
Well,
say?
I don't remember seeing it on that one, but some people were saying a few of these are coming to Game Pass. They just didn't say it, but I don't know if that's true. That's why I didn't put it in here. That one, the one that I brought up with Scorn, it like came up before the trailer, so I know that one for sure is Game Pass. That's why I think it'd be odd if some of these other ones are, because I feel like they want to advertise that.
Yeah, I'd be willing to try it out, see how the fighting
Yeah.
is.
And then they ended with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I played some of the Assassin's Creed games, but they've never done much for me. One of the things that interested me more with this, I saw an interview on IGN today. I don't know if you saw it. They were talking about how this isn't going to be the biggest and the largest Assassin's Creed game, which is I feel like they try and do every time, just one up it. And I told you that's my one of my biggest issues with games right now in general is that they just seem so massive and not in a good way. Usually just loaded with a ton of nonsense to make it more content, but not more enjoyable. And they said that they're purposely not making the biggest one because that was a criticism. So that's something I like to hear, but I don't know if I'll even end up playing the game or not.
Yeah, I said I didn't get to talk about this last week. I forgot to.
Yeah,
The premise sounds really really cool, and something that in the announcement trailer and not in this one either they didn't really talk about. It's kind of just something they've said in interviews is that there's almost like a hub world. But my favorite Assassin's Creed games is Brotherhood and Black Flag. Those two I think are the best ones. There's a hub world. I don't know if you describe that, a fortress from your Uncle Mario. Um, I don't know. Do you remember that guy? Did you ever play Brotherhood?
um, yeah, I did, but I remember this Mario character, but that's about it. I know I beat one and two, and then played Brotherhood.
Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze. He has that famous line where it's clearly a call to
Oh
Mario,
yeah,
where he's
uh
like,
huh,
"It's a me, your Uncle Mario," or something like that. But he's got a mansion, and your job's to like beef up the security and put
yeah,
money into it to help defend it.
mm,
And it seems like you have a village in this one where you do the same thing, and I love that aspect. Fable did something similar too, where you put money towards, you know, defenses or money towards this and build it up. And it seems, and then they showed there's gonna be ship combat, which was one of my favorite part about Black Flag. Um, and then in this one, I think what stuck out the most in this clip that they showed was the sieges. They were showing them like sieging
Mm-hmm.
a castle. I don't know what, a fortress or whatever it was. So I'm hoping that you can also besiege cities and take them over and defend your city. And I'm pretty excited for it.
I gotcha. Do you think at a certain point they shouldn't be calling these Assassin's Creed games? I know it won't happen because it's too much of a moneymaker, but I feel like if you look at this game and look at any of the first three Assassin's Creed games, I don't think you can see any fucking connection.
Yeah. Besides the Templars and Assassins, and they're just saying throughout time, we. And I heard, what is the storyline within current day? I forget
Uh,
what they call that, those segments.
oh
I did
god,
hear that Origins, maybe, they're going to be related. I don't know. Those parts of Assassin's Creed, I don't know how you felt about them. I mean, they were okay. The first couple, I think they were pretty decent stories, but it was almost like slowed down the main storyline. Like I'd forget about them when I was playing the historical stuff and wanted to go back to the historical stuff.
you're talking about the Adamus, right? Isn't that what they called it?
Adamus, almost said omnibus, but
Um,
yeah, Adamus.
I don't know. For me, that was actually one of the more interesting things. I do love the history, and I think it's cool. But I thought the Adamus was cool because I thought that was a cool setup to be able to use that as a setup to control history and go into different points, which I feel like then you could use that as a excuse why it still connects to games like this. But from what it seems like, they kind of just abandoned that, so that's why it seems odd that they still even connect it to Assassin's Creed. Like I said, I know money wise, it's never not going to happen because it's too much of a money maker, but it just seems weird to me.
Yeah, didn't those storylines kind of get messed up, and there was some big storyline stuff that didn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like I said, I kind of just kind of played Assassin's Creed, but yeah, I remember people saying that. Um, so that was all the games. So some random notes I had. This actually came out the day before when they were hyping this up. Did you hear the? And they showed it during the beginning of this. The Xbox One X. Oh my God! See, I just did it again. The Xbox Series X startup noise.
No.
Oh really? They showed up the boot. They showed the boot screen and everything. People are fucking losing their minds. I thought it was actually there's been better boot up screens already, but also it's just a boot up screen. But that's the kind of things you get excited about when a console comes out. It's not like it really matters, but I mean, I guess kind of does. Like Sega and 64 and those kind of things are kind of ingrained in my mind, so I think it does matter. It just seems weird to talk about. But you have to watch and see what you think. I thought there wasn't much to it and just kind of pretty bland, but I feel it also feel different when I power on the console and do it myself and see it. I feel like maybe it's just kind of weird to watch a video of it.
Yeah, I think the startups are some of the bigger ones that kind of stick out to me are the original Xbox,
Yeah.
your PS2, and then of course Sega. And I think GameCube is pretty iconic.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Um, Another thing I put on here was this obviously, like I said, they said it before it happened that this wasn't going to be like their E3 replacement. They didn't say those words, but I think by talking about how it was a third party showcase, that they're trying to prepare people that Halo and these kind of games wouldn't be there. And they said during this, I don't know if you heard that you can expect that kind of presentation in July with Halo and all their first party games, which makes me really excited on one hand, but on the other hand, makes me bummed because that seems like it is going to be how it's going to work. The E3 is not really going to be, even though it's not E3, it's not going to be like connected weekend or something. It's just going to be whenever these companies do their events,
No, exactly. This is going to be a big year for it.
which actually I missed this last week. Um, this will go into that. Nintendo said that there's not going to be a direct in June. They delayed it, which would have been their E3 direct. So I don't know when they're
Yeah.
going to be have their big presentation. But also this lines up with the fact that I feel like there's not going to be like a gathering of all these companies that are just going to have their own events and not coordinate with each other, which is really sad because I feel like there's not even really an alternative for us to all gather and do our nonsense together unless we just everybody can manage to be able to do these random events on certain days.
Yeah, and it's like you might have to save them for certain days, and then you
Yeah.
might see spoilers.
Um, then another thing we talked about last week, and there's been a development since then, was the Last of Us 2 leak. And at the time, everybody assumed it was somebody at Naughty Dog, but Sony said that they identified the individuals responsible for the Last of Us 2 leaks, and they were not affiliated with either Sony or Naughty Dog, which is fucking crazy that somebody could. I haven't watched it, but from what I've heard, it's like the entire game is out there. So it's fucking crazy that somebody not affiliated with either of them could get something like that.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like what I'm sure they had to be working with him. I just don't understand how they got it.
Yeah, that could be it. I wonder if it was actual just straight up theft, like in physical, like you're talking about, like a USB drive, like they were with them or something, or even just a digital hack, like they knew how to get into there. Um, Whatever you want to call it, hard drive sounds dumb, but like their infrastructure. And I feel like if you know how to do that kind of stuff, that might actually be viable to be able to do something like that and steal it.
Or I don't know how recent this news is, but I just saw this. Uh, Lil Wayne's music used to get leaked a lot.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of some of the big first music leaks were his music. Um, and the guy that how his music used to get leaked was something as simple as the guy that used to detail his cars. He would steal CDs out of his CD
Oh
player.
yeah,
So it could be something real dumb like that. Just somebody that's on a cleaning crew just
yeah.
popped in a zip drive, and who knows? Somebody that's like a janitor or somebody that fills vending machines, or who knows? Something dumb. It could be something dumb like that too. But
I feel
whoever it is, man, they got to be shitting bricks because they're. I think they're gonna get sued into oblivion.
yeah. Um, and it's crazy because we spent so much. Well, not so much, but at least a few minutes on the episode last time talking about how much of a piece of shit that person is when they're working with those people. So it's crazy that that's not even what was happening now, and that's something completely different than that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Um, then the only other news I had this week was Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, is coming to PSVR, and I'm super excited because there's nothing been actually Star Wars on PSVR. They did have on Battlefront like a little segment that you could play on VR, but it's like a standalone Star Wars game on VR. And I feel like Star Wars is such an easy VR game with the lightsabers or however you want to do it that I'm super excited. It's been out on Vive and the other VRs, which, like I said, I've considered getting, but it's just not going to happen anytime soon. And PSVR is what I got, so I'm super excited that's coming to it.
No, most definitely. That
Um,
sounds perfect. And
yeah,
you don't really hear much about at least big budgets or big titles coming to PSVR right now.
no, you definitely don't. That's why I was talking about Edith Finch when I feel like Sony could take advantage of these kind of things, or could have in that scenario. But it's weird though, because you've probably heard PSVR is outselling the Vive and the Rift combined,
Mm-hmm.
but yet you see all the biggest games still coming to those platforms, which it seems so backwards. I know it's because some of it's because some of those big games are coming from Valve and those companies themselves. But
You think
even
it could be
then,
a hardware thing too?
I think that's definitely part of it. Obviously, I love the PSVR, but yeah, that's why I considered some of these other ones, like games like the Half Life game. I think it would be unplayable on PSVR even if they were going to port it over, which sucks. But I mean, PSVR is getting relatively old now, so I wouldn't be shocked in I'm hoping Sony does something with a new PSVR for PS5. I know they said this one will work with it, which I think is cool and the smart decision. But yeah, I feel like the hardware is just going to keep getting farther and farther back unless they do something about it.
For sure. I think they will next generation. They have to, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, the PSVR is super impressive, but if you look at VR, how much has already progressed within a few years, there's like the tracking areas now so it knows where you're at. There's the lenses so you can look through the VR goggles and see the real world. There's I don't know if you've seen it's getting too crazy too fast. There's these little trackers you can put on your individual fingers and you don't use the controller anymore. And then
Wow.
it's literally tracking your exact fingers down to the movement. So like because it was always kind of a cool idea, but never actually worked in practice to do like a shooting game because it would present it like you're using your finger to pull a trigger, but all it can track is your whole hand movement. So in reality, you're kind of just looking like an idiot because your whole hand's pulling this trigger. But with single fingers, you could literally do stuff like that, and that's just so crazy to me that it's already progressing like that.
Yeah, my coworker is a little too into VR on the PC.
Uh huh.
He has this vest that he puts on as well. This
Oh
I guess
yeah.
it's like a weighted vest. I'm not sure exactly what the company is or how it works, but it will. Um, the way he explains it, I'm not, and I only talked to him in passing. We're not in the same shift, so it's
Mm-hmm.
only the 10 minutes, 15 minutes that we run into each other. It almost sounds like it hits you. Like if you get shot in the chest or shot anywhere, it'll try to hit in similar location
Yeah,
to
I've heard about that.
um, where where you got hit in the game.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is fantastic, and I can't wait to try stuff like that. I want it to be like that, but also at the same time, it's fucking terrifying to think about that kind of stuff.
It is, man.
Even the finger tracking, like I said, the idea of that is so cool, but then when you think about it, it's really fucking weird to think about.
It's weird to think about where gaming's going to be in 20 years.
Uh-huh.
It's nuts because you think of 20 years ago now would be like original Xbox.
Yeah.
Well, not even original Xbox.
Hmm.
How much has changed in that time? And it seems to only grow exponentially.
Yeah, no doubt. Um, you have any gaming pickups this week, guy?
Um,
Not Edith Finch, sad face.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I should have that, but I picked up. I'm trying to go back and get some of the off the wall collector's editions for my original Xbox collection.
Hmm.
So I picked up the Godfather collector's edition.
Uh huh.
On that, it came with like a DVD and a slipcover. That's the nice thing about the original Xbox collector's edition. There's only a handful of them, and they're not worth that much. So pick that up, and then The Witcher original U.S. release, not enhanced edition. I picked that up for the PC, and then picked up the enhanced edition. So both releases. Um, and then I'm going back and forth with the guy on eBay over Robotech collector's edition. Kind of come in a weird silver box
Hmm.
on eBay, so I might end up getting that if he comes down a little bit. But that's it. What about
Okay.
you?
Um, no gaming pickups again this week, but I did make quite the purchase.
Uh-oh.
I bought an iPhone 11 and Apple Watch Series 5.
Dang, that's a double whammy. Can I ask how much that was?
You can, you're gonna hate me, but it was 900 and then 300.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean it is a shitload of money, but I'm so sick of being restricted to contracts and not and having to worry about money each month. And I knew I had enough, and not like, oh, I have enough, and hopefully I get by. I have enough that I could do that, and still have enough in savings that I don't have to worry. Not like that was my last bit of money, and be like, hope I make it. I was like, you know what, I have money, and I'd rather spend this and be able to more accurately track what I have than having to each month be like, oh shit, do I have a make sure I have that to pay it. I don't just want to get out of the way, and also, like I said, not be on a contract and have to worry about that every month.
Or like leasing one?
Yeah, or even um, doing a monthly, just normal monthly payments, not a lease, and just like a 2 year contract. I didn't want to do that. I did think about a lease because it would be nice every 12 months just being able to switch to the next iPhone. But I was looking and it said the resale market for even an iPhone that's 2 years old, and this one is only 6 months old at this point. You can usually get after even 2 years of it, you can still get 50% of the price back on the aftermarket. So I
Oh
was like,
wow.
yeah, I was like, well, if that, and they showed a graph like how that is with every iPhone, not just like one random person sold on eBay. That's like the normal trend. And I was like, well, it would be nice to lease and just be able to swap out, but then I'm stuck to that contract, and then it sounds good, but you have to do that lease every 2 years too. It's not just that you do that and then you swap out for the rest of your life. You continually have to pay every 2 years. So I'd rather have that, and then more than likely, I don't need every single iPhone anyways. Like the Galaxy, I've been able to do for an upgrade for like 9 months now, so it's not like I got a phone right away. So I was thinking that's the best of both worlds. If I want to upgrade, I could sell it right then and pay a little more and get the new iPhone or whatever phone I want next. That's the other nice thing, that if I don't want to stick with iPhone, I can switch to something else. If you're on the iPhone for everything, you don't have a choice. And then
Yeah.
um, the other nice part, like I said, if I'm like, the new iPhone looks cool, but it didn't really add much, then I just still stick with mine. Um, and then the watch I've missed ever since I got a Galaxy. So yeah, I thought about it for a long time, and like I said, I've had a lot of issues with my Galaxy. We joked about it. It's a whole fanboy thing, like Xbox or Sony or whatever. I think they're both perfectly fine phones, and they both have their cool things. I just definitely prefer Apple's more, and there's a few things I'll miss with the Galaxy, but I feel like there's many more things that I'm missing right now without the iPhone and the watch.
Your your uh your girlfriend Danielle, she has the CE, right?
She has the 8.
And where did she? Who did she go through again?
We're both on Sprint.
To purchase it?
Yeah,
She Did she get a good deal on it? I thought I remember hearing something that.
yeah, I can't remember what hers was. I think she did. We bought them from Best Buy through Sprint, and then this time I just bought mine directly from Sprint.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I let's see. This Wednesday I go to Verizon to switch to Verizon. My dad wants me to get on my own plan, no more mooching,
Hmm.
which kind of sucks because the bill's gonna go up because I'll
Yeah.
be the only person on it. So I don't know if I can't switch my AT&T phone over to Verizon. I would kind of have to buy a new phone.
Oh
And
yeah.
Google's not the most helpful thing. It kind of just like some of them can, some of them can't.
Oh yeah. That kind of stuff is impossible to figure out. It's so annoying.
Yeah, so I'll find out Wednesday. But if I have to get a new phone, I don't think I'll go Samsung again. I want to all of my smartphones since let's see, I was a senior in high school when I got my first smartphone, and that was yeah, they've all been Galaxies.
Oh
I've
really?
never not had a Galaxy.
So what are you thinking this time? You're not gonna do iPhone, are you?
Either iPhone or Pixel.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I was gonna say I was guessing Pixel, or I know this One Plus thing is blowing up. I know it's they're super Chinese, so I didn't know if you'd be down with that.
no, Hawaii or whatever that shit's called. If the CIA's if the military won't let like service members have them, then I'll probably stay away from them. And it'd also be nice to support an American company.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you'll see me before you do all that, but you could definitely mess around with my iPhone and watch and everything and see how you feel about it, since it'll be the newest iPhone, so that way you could get an idea of what it's like.
Yeah, most definitely. It will suck not having a headphone jack though, man.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if I could design my phone, I'd put it on there. But for me, I actually don't really mind it. Like I said, even when they first took it out, and I still had my Galaxy, I still said that because um, I like having it there, but I actually hardly use a headphone jack now. I most time play it through Google Home or play it through my phone, or my car has Bluetooth or Android Auto or now CarPlay, I guess. So I never really use a headphone jack. And then, I mean, in the box, it does come with the headphones that plug in the charger. So that way you
Mm-hmm.
can still use headphones that way. I know it sucks because you can't charge it, which would be cool if the headphones, like you could charge the headphones and then I think that'd be a really cool feature. Charge your headphones and plug it into your phone and let you listen and charge your phone at the same time. Like give it like a kind of like a battery pack.
And it's I would go like a South Korean phone, which
Uh-huh.
I think is, or a European phone. But I think the only American phones do not have headphone jacks.
Yeah, all the big ones I know don't.
Yeah, which I think is just what do you got? Google and the iPhone is the only ones I can think of. And I'm 90% Pixel, 10% iPhone. And the only reason I wouldn't go Pixel is just because of, I don't know, something weird would have to happen. And that's just because of everything I have through Google and the games I've
Yeah,
purchased through Google. And I've had the same Google account since, gosh, forever.
yeah,
And it's nice to move everything over, and Apple's a whole different environment.
yeah. That's one thing I was thinking about. But then the more I thought about it, most things I use will still work. Like I set everything up like smart here, like the well, not like I set up smart, but like the smart stuff, like all the Google Homes and the light bulbs and all that stuff. And I was like, shit, it'd be annoying to not have that. And I was like, well, I mean, Apple has a Google Home app, so I could do all that. And I was like, well, that would suck not to be able to cache it from my phone. And I was like, wait, YouTube's on iPhone, so you can use that. And then all the newest videos have um, Apple mirroring, so you can put anything on your Apple device on there. So the most stuff I use on that I feel like I'd miss, I can actually still use. It might not be directly integrated, but it'll just be an app that I click on.
Oh, wow. And another thing, too, that pull me towards the Google Pixel is they are, give or take, usually about half the price of the
Oh no, yeah,
iPhones
that's definitely.
unlocked.
I saw. I think Best Buy had the Pixel on sale, $350 off right now too. So you might want to look at that.
Is that the 499 everyone's doing right now, or is that?
Oh, maybe I didn't. That was after I decided because I was looking at all kinds of phones before I decided on an iPhone for sure again, and I just
Because I
saw
think
that.
right now everyone has them at 499
Oh, that's probably it then. That's probably the
base one.
after price.
I would probably get the XL at like, I think Amazon has the XL, the beautiful orange, I think they call it.
Oh my god,
Um, I'd probably do that, the XL. Oh, so orange, they call it.
that's even worse.
Which, or if I wanted to just go with the normal color, it would be even cheaper. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm hoping I just go there and like, yeah, you can still use this
yeah.
Samsung because it's not that old with Samsung. I don't know, was this 2 years, 3 years? I think it'd be 3 years this September,
I think
maybe.
so. Yeah, for that one.
So I hope they let me use that because Jesus, I don't want to buy a new cell phone.
um. Well, you can keep me updated on, or us updated on here, what you end up doing, and I know you know how my Apple adventures go and the issues I might have going ahead with transferring over and all that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Um, what have you been playing, guy?
Uh, Warzone, and I really gotta buy fucking. I gotta buy the actual game because I want to play the multiplayer. I get a little bored of the Warzone
Mm-hmm.
and Witcher, and that's it. I don't know if it counts as a pickup, but I picked up KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, or
Okay.
is that what that is? It
Yeah.
For my phone. I do the
Oh yeah.
Google surveys,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally had enough to buy a game. So I was going through here, and I decided to buy KOTOR.
Nice.
So
Have,
eventually I'll start playing that as
oh,
soon as I
you haven't
finish
played it
Dragon
yet. I
Quest.
was gonna say I feel like that game would not be able to control on a phone unless they let you connect a controller, but you know, let me know
Well,
once you
fortunately,
play
it's
it.
very like I don't know. Have you ever played it?
Yeah, I guess you're probably talking about how it's kind of like turn-based, right?
Yeah, essentially, like you just select something and it does it
Yeah.
automatically for you.
Yeah,
You don't
that
have to
part wouldn't be
aim.
too bad, I guess. I just don't the like exploration, if you want to call it that, like walking around the platforms and everything. I feel like might really suck, but
Yeah, most definitely.
you can let me know once you play. I haven't played it. I just that's how I always feel about phone games, but some work well like that. Um,
Yeah, like I couldn't imagine how people play San Andreas and all that
yeah.
stuff on there.
So for me, I've been playing some more Dreams. Me and Danielle actually beat the main campaign in it. I told you it's only like a few hours, but it was a lot of fun and um, really unique. And you have Dreams, you should play. I think you'd like it. It's definitely not like nearly as impactful as something like Edith Finch or something, but it's definitely unique. Maybe not quite as unique, but it's not like you see in most games where everything's predictable. Like everything that I saw was something different, and it was super interesting and had a pretty good, meaningful story in it. Just like I said, definitely not as impactful. Um, and then playing some Call of Duty Warzone as well, and some more Madden. I think we're in like week 13 right now, and fighting for a playoff spot again. And I looked up which team Baker Mayfield was on for you. He is on the Rams, and it's like the douchiest quarterback duo of all time. It's him and Brock Osweiler
I
are the
was about to
quarterback.
say that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I was literally gonna guess that.
Oh, were you? I should have let you. I didn't. I thought that'd be too wild, but so that's nuts. You're actually gonna guess him.
That's so nuts that that's where my mind went. But yeah, that's what I guessed.
Um, but yeah, I've been playing. We've been playing a lot of that. Actually, we're on our second season and like week 13, like I said. So we're getting there, almost to playoffs again. And then I've been playing some Destiny 2 with a couple of people from work, and I've never played Destiny 2. I love the first Destiny. I just never played it because that game's so much more fun with people, and nobody wanted to play it. So I was really excited to find some people who want to play it, and I have mixed feelings about it. It's the gameplay and the shooting and everything is top notch. I mean, it's people originally made Halo, so all that shit is like second to none. But as far as direction and what you're supposed to be doing, how that game's set up, is fucking either awful or I need to play it more to understand it. We even one of the people I played with used to play Destiny 2 all the time. He said like max his character out and everything. And we started in the first hour, none of us had any clue what we were doing, even him. He's like, "Yeah, this game's completely different," and we're doing absolutely nothing, just trying to figure everything out. And even when I feel like I don't know if I should say figure out when we were having fun and doing the game like we were supposed to. I think I still feel like everything's just kind of not connected. Like there's strikes, there's raids, there's PvP, there's PvE, there's story missions, there's Vanguard missions, and it just seems so overwhelming and so much coming at you, and I don't know what the hell we're doing right or doing wrong. And then the story missions seem weird because you can pick them at any point. So I'm like, I don't know how the story's gonna make any sense, and that's something Bungie is always really good at with storytelling. And the first cutscene we saw, I was like, I have no fucking clue what any of this means, or if this is supposed to be the first cutscene, because this makes no sense right now. And again, the cutscene looked beautiful, but I was like, I don't. But it's weird because I don't really know what's going on, and I don't know if we're really playing it correctly. But I'm having a lot of fun. But um, I just wish games were more linear and obvious and direct to do better. I was that game. Maybe it benefits if you play it consistently, and maybe I'll feel differently if we continually play it, and I'll see that I'm just used to games being the way they normally are, so it seems bad. But I don't know. I feel like it's probably just that I'm not a fan of games that are like that.
Yeah, I don't. I played it at launch, but um, I never finished the storyline. But the storyline seemed pretty direct. Like, yeah, I could just choose like just to
Oh,
focus
really?
on storyline stuff at
Huh.
launch, anyways. So I don't know if some updates have changed stuff, but
Yeah, I feel like that's how the first one was, and I feel like the first one I could be wrong because it's been a long time, but I feel like the PvP was like Halo or anything else. Like you went to the section to do matchmaking, and this
Yeah.
one, okay, that's what I thought. This one, you don't even get it till playing a couple hours after, and they call them Crusades, and then that unlocks the PvP, and they're like they present it like their missions. You fly to a planet and go there, and then it starts up matchmaking with other people. I was like, this all seems so weird.
What do you mean? Is it Crucible?
Yeah, Crucible. Yeah, I said Crusade. Yeah,
That's what they call them in the first one. It's kind of similar to that too. You kind of fly there or
was it?
whatever. It's like you're challenging other. What are they called?
Um,
I almost said Titans, but that didn't sound right. Guardians? I don't
yeah,
know.
Guardians. Yeah. Um, huh.
That was
Okay, I thought
that.
it was just like straight up matchmaking the first one, so I'm just remembering that part wrong, and that's somewhat I'm saying. That's why I didn't really know how to word it because I don't really know if it is wrong that it's like this or that I don't prefer it to be open because I don't maybe that I just don't understand it completely.
Yeah, I don't think it was like you actually flew somewhere, but there's a loading screen showing your character flying there, I
Yeah, that's
believe.
what it is. Yeah, you don't physically fly there. Um, but that's it for me. What have you been watching this week, guy?
Uh, just some. I don't know if Vice is trying to get back to how they used to be because of that meme. Like I miss the old Vice. But I've been watching a lot of their documentaries they're releasing. They released a really good one on the I forget the Muslim population in China, but about how they're stripping them of their culture and just have a massive concentration camp of Uyghur. I think they're called Uyghur or Uyghur. Yeah, Uyghur Muslims in China. I just always sound really anti-China, but someone's got to be. Um, Chinese government. Some documentaries on Vice. Man, that's really bad. It's been a weird week.
No, I feel
Kind of
you.
watching stuff here and there, like Cops. I love Cops and Live PD. My guilty pleasure since I was a little kid. I've been watching Cops, so that's what I've been. It's been a Cops mood in Roseanne. So
No, I feel you. That's yeah. It's been a weird week in general, and um, I was flipping through the Vizio TV last night and trying to find all the. I feel like I don't use it enough, so I was trying to add any channel that sounded interesting to the favorites list, so that way it could be easier. Like old TV, just flipping through and finding stuff. And Cops was one of the channels I added, so I'm with you on that. I used to watch it all the time as a kid, um, but I didn't really end up watching much last night because I was just trying to get all of them added on there. So, but I did watch Lost. I caught up to tonight's episodes. I haven't watched tonight's, obviously, but you need to catch up. I know you said, well, that recording didn't happen, but that you're kind of falling behind and you're not really sure. I feel like maybe you won't care, but these episodes that happen, these past episodes have been fucking crazy, and I'm really curious to see what you think about them.
I'm up to episode. I think I just finished 18.
Oh, really? Okay, you're only a couple behind then. Yeah,
Okay,
I
cool.
um, guess we could talk once you get completely caught up. And I mean, most people watch this probably aren't gonna watch Lost or are watching with us anyway, so I don't think we could spoil much. But we'll talk once you catch up because you've seen some crazy stuff already. But episode 20 ends real crazy. I won't say anything more than that. I don't want to spoil it for you. But
Shoot. Okay.
then I watched Dark Waters again, not Deep Waters, because Danielle heard our talk and she's like, "Yeah, we should watch that. It sounds really interesting." So I watched that again, and it was just as good as I remember. And then we're gonna watch the documentary. We just haven't watched that yet since neither of us have seen that. But we just wanted to watch the movie first since she hasn't seen it. And what I said was right about it said that estimated 99% of humans have it in their blood. And it said most creatures do on Earth, not just humans, but 99% of humans have it in their blood,
Jesus Christ, man.
which is
You guys
fucking.
gonna watch the documentary then?
Yeah, I don't know when, but yeah, we're definitely gonna watch it because I haven't seen that at all, and obviously she hasn't.
Kind of weird that no one really talks about this.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. Like I said, that's the weird part about it. I was like, just thinking that we're all one of those statistics, unless we're somehow lucky 1%. But I don't think that's probably any of us.
That's probably like those like untouched tribes in the middle of the ocean,
Yeah.
the Indian Ocean and shit.
I looked it up because Danielle asked me if this chemical is still in it, and I was like, yeah, that's at the end of Dark Waters. It said that because I told her before we watched it. I was like, they say it's still in it, and he's still fighting it, and I don't want to spoil it, but so I didn't tell her all this right away. But how they that's kind of point of the movie is that you're watching the documentary, so you know, and it's a true story. So I don't really think it's a spoiler. If you're okay with me saying it,
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of the point of it. That he keeps trying to stop it, and every time he gets to a point where they're going to admit it and prove it wrong and everything, that they just keep moving the goalpost and changing it so that way they can get away with it more. And I feel like I lost my train of thought, but um, I feel like that's exactly what they're doing. That they make you try and forget it. And I looked it up and it said they stopped using that chemical in 2013, but I don't know if that's true because they in the movie they at the end of it they say how it's still being used today and he's still fighting that battle. And I feel like maybe they don't use it anymore, but I feel like it's exactly what they would say even if they are going to be using it, especially based off of that. That like I said, they keep moving the goalpost and making it so that way they don't have to confess to it. So I feel like maybe they stopped using it, but even if they didn't, I'm pretty sure that they would just say they stopped using it.
Yeah, and I just I don't know, man. Maybe it means nothing, but then it makes me wonder like is this my generation's asbestos?
Yeah,
I keep thinking that like I was like, man, it's crazy that they let and of course then you see like, in Russia where a lot of asbestos is mined that they say it's not actually not that bad and it's very dependent on what you're doing with it and it's actually really good fireproofing and um I don't know. There's benefits to it and then there's issues with it.
yeah,
With asbestos, it seems like there's some really good benefits. Like it literally just doesn't catch on fire. But Teflon, it's like okay, stuff doesn't stick to it. It's like what's the? I don't really see the benefit to this.
um, I guess the show has some corrections. I'm pretty sure I called him Robert Blout when we were talking, and it's Blout. There's an I there, so I guess that's a small correction. I remember when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I definitely pronounced that wrong.
That's
Um,
so disrespectful.
I know, I'm sorry, sir. And then the last thing we watched for Star Wars Day, we watched the Mandalorian episode that I was telling you about with the. I told you last week there's like a documentary, I mean, like a behind the scenes commentary, because that's what I heard. It's definitely not a commentary, it is a behind the scenes. But I didn't know they were going to do it. I told you how they're going to do one for every episode, but I think they're releasing it like they did Mandalorian, because there's only one episode out right now, which I was bummed. We were just going to kind of marathon for Star Wars Day, but there's only one out, unless that's really all they're doing. But they call it episode one, so I feel like they're doing one for each episode. But it was kind of interesting. They this one was called the Directors, and they sat down with every director since there was a different director for like every episode, and talked about what their film style was and why they chose to do different things. And so I'm assuming that there's gonna be an episode for each one because I feel like it's weird to call episode one and weird they call this one the directors. I'm assuming like the episode two would be like the actors and then like the writers for the third one or something like that. And I hope so because it was interesting.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I was kind of hoping the commentary would be kind of sick because I want to rewatch them, but I also kind of wanted a little different aspect to it, so that a commentary would have been nice.
Yeah,
I
that
see what you're saying.
yeah yeah no that's what I was hoping and thinking. But yeah, I guess kind of cool in a different way. Um, it was also weird some of the scenes when they were filming it. George Lucas was sitting there, which I know he's a creator, but they talked about him like he's so separated now that he would never even be around it. But he was sitting there looking like he was like giving feedback and talking with them and everything, like while they were filming The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I don't. That's got to be awkward
Uh,
or weird. I don't know.
And I,
Because it's like you said, it's not talked about, and you almost think George Lucas hates
yeah,
what they're doing with it.
and I feel like I'm sure they asked him to, but I doubt he just like came on set. But for me, I'd be like, oh shit, there's so much pressure now. This guy's gonna judge everything.
Oh, I didn't even think about that for the people working on set,
Yeah,
especially the directors.
and his voice is already so terrible. You get Kermit the Frog yelling at you. Um, and then that was it for me this week. The reminder for the free PS Plus and Xbox Gold games you got on Xbox One: Knights of Pen and Paper bundle till May 15th, and V Rally 4 till May 31st. On 360, you got World of Soccer. Then on PlayStation Plus, you got Uncharted 4 and Dirt Rally 2.0. And World of Soccer's till May 15th, I guess I should have said. Do you have any fake outrage, brother?
I do not, but I forgot a pickup. I don't know if it counts as a pickup.
I'll go for it. I don't have any fake outrage either, so go
It's
for it.
kind of it's a little bit of a saga here.
Okay.
So I watched the Toys That Made Us or whatever, and they did one
Mhm.
on wrestling action figures, and then I discovered that some like current WWE wrestlers and some guys that might have been fired. You know how they pick up and drop people.
Mhm.
Um, they have a podcast that it looks like it's pretty supported by WWE itself on wrestling action figures.
Mhm.
So I've been getting into watching, and I just bought my first wrestler in like probably 18 years
Uh huh.
action figure. Like a few weeks ago, I think I might have said it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But so I've been watching a lot of that, and I don't know if this is technically a pickup, but I'm kind of excited to get into it. I've kind of watching a little bit. I picked up the WWE Network again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to support their Money in the Bank this Sunday, especially because everyone's pissed. They're like, McMahon needs to shut this shit down, even though he is doing it at the headquarters and it's only the wrestlers and they're checked and people still want to make a big deal out of this
Uh huh.
COVID shit. Um, and as a company, I don't think they're doing well. It sounds like ESPN's trying to, or Disney. There's rumor Disney might be trying to buy them through ESPN. Um, so I want to show them some support, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back. And I discovered that it's kind of a podcast, but Stone Cold Steve Austin has a talk show, and he's been doing it since I don't know September with Attitude Era wrestlers. And I don't know. I listened to some of them are on YouTube. I listened to some of the Undertaker clips, and they're unrated on the WWE Network. So I figured,
Huh.
it's only $10 a month, and it's worth it for the Stone Cold Steve Austin interviews and watching those and listening to those podcasts about the action figures have kind of got me back in the wrestling mood.
Are you still watching all old wrestling?
Yeah, I'll go back and watch some old wrestling. I want to watch some WrestleManias that were like way before my time and like the '80s wrestling.
Mhm.
I don't know, which is not Attitude Era. I think still by far the best.
Yeah.
It's the best, but I also got into Dark Side of the Ring, which is kind of like the WWE wants no part of. Have you heard of that series?
No.
You should check out that series, man. It's really good. It's about all the crazy shit that's happened in wrestling, the stuff that McMahon never wants to talk about, like Chris Benoit,
Oh yeah.
and she was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid, and how all that shit went down. This really good Dark Side of the Ring, which I think Vice ended up picking up, so you can actually watch that and high quality on Vice. Um, but yeah, Dark Side of the Ring is just like the sad things that's happened in wrestling. So I watched the Chris Benoit one, and with the action figure podcast, I've just been back into wrestling.
Huh.
And there's no sports going on, so
Yeah.
it's kind of something to just dive into right now.
That's
I'm sure
good.
it'll be like a few years ago like 3 years ago when I got into WWE Network. I'll have it for a few months and then get rid of it once I get bored.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Um, that actually remind me. a few random things that I could talk about at the top of the show that I guess I could talk about before we get out of here. Um, what you said feeds into the first one. Did you see the NFL release their schedule tonight?
I did, man. I looked at it.
Yeah, and they released a full schedule and said that they're planning on the season like normal, which um, I feel like they're really going to follow through with it. Whether there's fans in the stands or not, I feel like might be a debate. I think there is going to be fans in the stands at least at one point. I think they might start with no fans, and then by the end of the season have fans, or I could even see them. Because all you have to do is keep 6 feet of distance, so I could see them selling like half the stadium and policing or security, not literally police, but policing like where people are sitting and make sure they're apart. Because I feel like the NFL is going to want people in the stands. Because I say even watching those games, it's going to be hard to watch people. I know they like to make fun of the crowds and say how they don't affect it, but they definitely do, and that in turn affects the people watching on TV and gets more energy going. And I still think obviously it's a long chance it actually happens, but I feel like there's one organization or group that could do it. It's the NFL. I know it sounds silly to say because literally like everything shut down. There didn't matter how big you were, education, everything shut down. But I feel like the NFL is just such a fucking different monster in America. I feel like it's bigger than all of our sports combined here. That I feel like there's, like I said, even with their off season, they just kept going like nothing was happening. Every other team or league just kind of stopped signing players, and the NFL was just giving out these $50 million contracts and $100 million contracts like nothing was happening. Like the season's just going to go on, and I feel like that's definitely what they're actually aiming for.
Yeah, man. It was exciting. I looked at the Browns schedule and the Bengals. Buccaneers. I saw. Did you see the Buccaneers play right at the beginning?
Yeah, the Broncos, you mean?
No, no.
Oh, like the
The
first week,
Bucks.
the opening
Uh,
night or whatever.
yeah, Kansas City.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, for that's gonna be a first good game, man.
I thought maybe you were looking at the Broncos schedule because they played the Buccaneers in week 2.
Yeah, so that's. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I must have overlooked that. So that's gonna be two cool games I want to check out. Um, the Browns start off right away with the Ravens too.
yeah,
So I think that's gonna set the season for both teams.
yeah. The Broncos don't start much better. They start with the Titans, which they were one step away from the Super Bowl beating the Chiefs. So
Man, oh man, I'm excited though.
yeah, me too. And gives you something to look forward to and feels real, even though the NFL maybe just faking it. It's not going to happen, but they're playing it like it's gonna.
I hope so.
If
Did you
fans are
see Russia kind of open back up and now they're getting shit all over?
no, I didn't see that. I've seen a lot of different countries, but I didn't see theirs.
Yeah, Russia was actually being celebrated for having pretty low amount of cases, and I think they loosened the reins a little bit, and then now they have the highest amount of cases in Europe. I think they went up to like 10,000 cases in a day.
Hmm.
So hopefully, when they open stuff back up, sounds like for Ohio, it would be in about a week that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, so far I know there's been limited opening, but things started opening May 1st, and the numbers have stayed consistent or getting even lower. So yeah, hopefully that'll happen. And even in 2 weeks, when you're actually allowed to dine in places, I don't know if you saw, you have to be within, still have 6 feet of distance, and the tables aren't allowed to be that close to each other, and all the workers and servers have to wear masks. So I feel like
Oh
it's
wow!
still, yeah, I feel like it's still gonna be a while till it's actually normal. I feel like just eventually you have to make steps there.
I saw only one person allowed in the salon at a time. Is that a thing?
I didn't see that, but I don't look too much into today's. I just saw kind of headlines so far.
It's gonna be weird for a while, I believe.
Yeah, I'll tell you this though: if fans are allowed in the stands, I'm about to catch a real cheap ticket to Denver, or and a real flight to Denver, and go out there and finally be able to see Denver in a game. The only issue is right now you can get tickets for next to nothing, but the issue with that is that you're going and probably won't be able to do fucking anything because it's in the same situation here. So you can get a cheap flight, but it's to go and not be able to do anything there either. So it's kind of pointless. Um, and another, this one is actually gaming news I left out, but it's because I'm not sure how much I believe the rumor, but it would make sense. Did you see um, EA said that they have a beloved franchise that they're remastering right now, and people are very happy. And then a report came out. This part is just a report that's in it from EA that said it's the Mass Effect trilogy remaster, which I can't believe they haven't done yet.
I
And
did see that.
yeah, it'll be out within the next 2 months.
2 months. Holy cow! I didn't know that.
Yeah, so those parts aren't confirmed, and it seems a little too good to be true. But at the same time, it seems weird they haven't made Mass Effect, and I don't really know how much you have to do to remaster those. So I guess it is possible. Um, I think they gave a specific date too. I think it was even sooner than 2 months. I just said that to play it safe. Let me see if I can find it. Oh God, where is it? Yeah, this says it's wait,
I wonder who leaked this.
the Mass Effect. You mean?
Yeah, like how the hell did that get out?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This one must either is a typo. Oh, okay. No, it was my fault. I thought it seemed way too soon to be 2 months. It was next year, which makes a lot more sense.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I'm glad I looked it up. That'll have been a big correction for next week. It says by the end of their financial year, which ends on March 31st, 2021. I feel like I was thinking it was May for some reason, and I was like, oh shit, that's real soon. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but that makes a lot
Yeah,
more
that'd have been
sense.
nuts because that's like zero promotion too.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that seems like a an easy candidate for a EA press conference for them to announce a Mass Effect trilogy. And then the
You
last
think we'll
random.
talk about Andromeda at all?
No, yeah, I think they'll step aside from that. I still haven't played it myself, but I wonder. I know it got hated on, but I always try and give things a chance, and I bought it, but I still haven't fucking played it, which is criminal because the original trilogy is one of my favorites. Um, then the last thing I had was, have you heard of this potential new candidate for president?
No.
His name is Justin Amaj. You might have heard his name. He he's a congressman in Michigan, which I know is a downside, and I'll give you another downside. He graduated from Michigan, so he has some things working against him. But you should look him up, even with my bias with those. He seems 100 times more normal than either of the candidates so far, and I haven't looked up a ton about him, so I'm not gonna give too much praise either anyway. But even just watching conversations, he seems like a normal human compared to somebody that's senile and somebody that's crazy. Um, and I feel like the points I've heard, you'd actually agree with a lot. You should look him up. He doesn't seem very exciting like some candidates. He seems kind of bland and kind of looks like Dave, which is another downside. But he, but even though he doesn't seem like really enthusiastic or like, oh my god, this is nuts, the things he's saying seem very reasonable and make a lot of sense. I think you'd like him a lot.
How do you spell his last name?
It's Amash.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Dave. Holy cow.
I'm glad you see it.
Does he run independent?
Um, he was a Republican and dropped out because well, he makes a lot of good points about it, but I guess I could just tell you first. Yeah, he was a Republican for a long time, and then he dropped out to be independent because of um, he said that he didn't line up with Donald Trump, but more so because he's so sick of everything being two parties. And he said that if you're a Republican, you have to side with Donald Trump no matter what, and if you're a Democrat, you have to side with Nancy Pelosi no matter what. And he said that's what Washington's becoming. And he said that everybody thinks it's a issue that there's two parties, but the parties aren't the issues themselves. It's that these people are stranglehold to it. And he said that he even people he works with will say things they don't like, and how they don't actually feel that way, and then he'll watch them on the news, and they'll say completely different things and how they side with the president. And he said that these are completely different conversations than they just have with these people, but it's because they know if they don't say these things, then they won't be part of the party anymore. So he said it's a never-ending system. So he dropped out to be independent, but then he joined the Libertarian Party to try and run for president, and they haven't actually nominated anybody yet. But people are thinking he'd probably be the nominee once it happens.
Oh wow. Detroit News. This is the article. Don't overthink it. Amash in the race helps Biden win.
Biden, really?
So
That's
yeah.
a lot of people are having issues with him because they said that he's doing it to help Donald Trump win because he'll take votes and split it, and then Donald Trump has the advantage. So I'm surprised they're saying that. But yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to check him out.
it's fucking terrible. Every interview they talk to him, there's so they don't say it like this, but they might as well. Why are you in this when you know you're just playing spoiler? And he's like, yeah, I'm in it because I think I can win it, and I feel like as long as everybody thinks that, then no third party candidate has a chance. And I can send you a couple interviews though. He's like I said, not the most energetic guy or like doesn't get you crazy, but just seems rational and makes good points, which is seems to be rare now.
Yeah, they're comparing this. Yeah, I have to check him out, man. He seems likable. I guess what this Detroit article is I remember people talking about it because I was fucking way too young when this happened. But the Ross Perot thing
Uh-huh.
with Bill Clinton,
Yeah,
um, they're kind of thinking that's how Biden will win, which I don't agree. But yeah, man, I'll check him out. That's exciting. It's exciting to be like, oh, it's a fucking breath of fresh air.
yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I saw him. That's he said there's nothing that like stuck out, but I've been waiting for something, and yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was like, man, this guy hasn't screamed or interrupted or gone crazy once. He's just having a sounds like he's a normal guy just talking to somebody, and also doesn't to that point doesn't seem like he just has like go to standby lines that he has to say. Seems like he's just having a genuine conversation.
Yeah, which is probably why he has no chance at winning.
Yeah.
It's almost like, okay, do you have some sort of controversy? It is a little scary how they're kind of they flip out when Donald Trump has these allegations, and then Biden has these allegations, and then they're like, "Well, he's still better than Trump."
Yeah.
And we
Oh,
had
I
to,
know.
innocent until proven guilty.
No, yeah, there's always double standards like that. I've talked to somebody at work about that. Um, it's funny you mentioned that. As one of the interviews, a fucking second question they asked him. So both the candidates have been accused of sexual assault. Can you confirm here that you have never sexually assaulted a girl?
It's
And
so
he,
ridiculous. You gotta ask a presidential
uh,
candidate that.
and you could tell he thought it was ridiculous, but again, just like I say, he doesn't seem to go wild or lose his mind. You could tell he like tried not to laugh. And no, I have not. But I was like, that's so fucking. Can't imagine getting somebody on here like that and then that being the second question.
Oh my god. Hello.
Hello?
Oh, make sure I didn't lose you there.
No, you're
It
good.
cuts out sometimes.
Yeah. Um, if you don't got anything else, guy, I think we can end there. I might do a solo thing. I might record tomorrow and then upload it tomorrow, but make it look seamless. Maybe even put on the same clothes to be stupid. I know I'm saying this to everybody. I just think it'd be funnier.
There you go, man.
So unless you got anything else, I guess we can just end this part here.
Yeah, that's it, man.
All right. Well, I love you, sir.
Love you.
All right. So we're back seamlessly. You guys didn't notice a transition. and didn't notice this is a totally different day, I'm sure. So normally this is when I talk about more like social issues and coronavirus and all of the nonsense that goes along with it. And that was my plan when I stopped recording last night. But I feel like I want to do it different this week. And as Cody alluded to earlier in the show, some real crazy stuff happened, completely unrelated to the coronavirus. But some real crazy stuff happened. So I feel like instead of trying to argue points and worry about how maybe some of this is overblown or whatever views on it are, I feel like I just want to say to be more positive and to be more loving. And it sounds corny and cliche, but there's no other way to put it. That you never know when's your last day, and life is short. And no matter how bad things might seem, like the virus and what's going on, unless like you've been feeling people have been really affected where you are losing people or something, obviously that's a different story. But like us, that we still have jobs, but it's really boring and not much to do, or even if people have lost their jobs, which is definitely terrible. But no matter what your situation is, as long as it's, like I said, not the extreme end, then to try and look for the positives. I mean, always look for the positives, but if you're on that end, it's a little harder to see that, I'm sure. So to always look for the positives because they're always there, even if there's a negative, and to realize, again, it sounds corny and cliche, but that's because most things are sound cliche or because they're so true that it sounds corny to say it because it's said so much, but that's because it's true, and it's said so much because it seems so obvious, but people seem to forget that every time something goes wrong or things aren't going the way they want or whatever the situation might be, me included, can definitely do that sometimes. So I definitely use this podcast to talk about everything. It's obviously mainly about video games because that's one of my biggest passions and Cody's. But I said from the beginning that I want it to be like any good podcast that I listen to that is the general topic, but that I want to be able to talk about politics, social issues, music, movies, whatever, because I feel like that is how normal people talk. They don't just stick to one topic. So it might seem unnatural to some people because they just view this as a video game podcast, but that's never what completely I view it as. So I do want to be like that. And this will be something that I would normally talk about, but I feel like since it's not directly involving me, I feel like it's not appropriate to talk about it and it doesn't feel right to talk about it. And I know that might sound like contradicting because obviously, if you're talking about social issues, you're probably talking about other people and this kind of stuff. But I feel like most of those issues are so spoken about that they're past the point of, not that they aren't a personal issue to those people, but they're like national news stories and stories that everybody knows, and discussing stuff becomes more of a topic that is more acceptable to talk about. So that's the only reason I'm not doing it, not because I don't want this podcast to be able to talk about difficult things or things that people may have strong disagreements on, because I feel like that's something that all of us can learn, is that no matter how much we disagree with each other, which there's going to be a lot of those, to still be respectful, which I feel like is one of the biggest problems with politics now and why people are so turned off by it, and why I wish people, it wasn't frowned upon to talk about politics. I don't think politics are the issue. I think it's closed mindedness and people that, even if they disagree, just don't know how to respect somebody that's disagreeing, and you don't have to change your mind, but the other person doesn't change their mind, and everybody can just have different views or similar views, and no matter what they are, just respect each other. So I feel like that's all I want to say, and just be positive, realize how grateful you are for no matter what you have. I don't know your situation, but I'm sure in most situations you could find things to be grateful for, and Like I said, there's no way to say it without sounding cliche, but that's because things are cliche or because they're said so much, but we need to say them to remind ourselves because it's so easy to not do it. That you never know when's your last day, and enjoy it and make the most of it and try and make others happy and just do your best and be respectful. So, thanks for watching again. Sorry to end it on, I don't know, maybe a downer, but hopefully more of an uplifting note. That's what I was trying to go for, not just be a downer. Um, so, as always, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Current Backlog. And then you can email any corrections, questions, or feedback to currentbackloggers@gmail.com. Thank you. Love you guys.